That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Welcome to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, where we're breaking down the career of the baddest son of a bitch from his start as the ringmaster back in January of 1996. And here we are at episode 48, covering May of 1999 and his interactions with the corporate ministry. It's been a year, and here we are, 3 years into his career. So thanks for joining. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV. JV, what's going on this week?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. So we're traveling to the UK today, right?
Yeah.
For the
little stopover
pay-per-view
for No Mercy in May of 1999, and it's not that great.
No, it's not.
But there's some good shit leading up to it on Raw. You have Raw from May 10th, which is the highest rated Raw ever.
Which is crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know 8.2 was their high. That's a stupid high.
It's wicked high.
I don't even... Do shows even pull ratings like that anymore?
Yeah.
Besides that aren't sports?
Well, I know Raw still does, and they only get like a 2 point something.
No, I'm saying, but yeah, but I mean, there aren't shows like what other shows? Not counting like ABC and CBS basic cable shows.
Yeah, they don't really do it the same way anymore.
Pull that or they don't.
Yeah, because they use a different model now, where because of DVR, so many people don't watch anything while it's actually on.
Yep, that's true.
For television shows, the dramas and comedies and shit like that.
And they're watching them on demand now, VODs.
Right.
On demand.
So I guess there's a different rating where it'll be DVR plus 3, DVR plus 7. So like if it's plus 3, that means it was watched within 3 days of recording it. So they get those kind of statistics.
But they don't put a rating on them?
No.
Like similar, like there's no like conversion rate or anything?
I don't think so. There might be, but I know that the plus 3s and the plus 5 things, what matters more to them. Are people watching it in what amount of time are they watching it?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I should have known that, but oh well.
Whatever. We're not supposed to know everything. All right, so last week was our special 1 year anniversary, and we did a watch along, and we had our special guest Jay Free from the Your Geek podcast on, and we watched SmackDown, the pilot of SmackDown from April 29th, 1999. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that and you watched along, or you took a listen to it anyway. And that's kind of where we're going to pick up from this week. But before I even give a recap, I also want to mention that JV and I do the Extreme ECW live cast, and we have a new episode coming out today. And that's episode 9, in which we watched Hardcore TV episodes 19 and 20 from August 17th and August 24th, 1993. And those shows are available on the Book in the Territory Patreon.com feed. So check it out. You have to support Book in the Territory to get these episodes. So if you want to donate to the $5 tier, even if it's just for a month, you can binge listen to all the episodes. And then unsubscribe if you want, but there's plenty of good shit on there that you probably want to stick around to hear all the many different podcasts that they've dropped over the past few years on their Patreon feed. So check that out, bookingtheterritory.com/Patreon, and we're the Extreme ECW livecast. All right, so let's kind of recap what happened on SmackDown. So where we left off on our chronological episodes, our last episode, episode 47, which was the Backlash episode, we left off with Steve Austin saving Stephanie McMahon from The Undertaker at the Dark Wedding, or the Black Wedding, or whatever the fuck it was called. But Austin came and saved the day. Stephanie hugged him. The Rock became babyface because he got fired by Shane McMahon. And they teamed up. Austin and The Rock teamed up to go up against Undertaker and Triple H during this SmackDown. Shane McMahon also formed the corporate ministry. So you had this corporate merger. And the ministry has now joined the corporation, which doesn't make too much sense because they've been constantly back and forth with each other, the Undertaker and the McMahons, all along. And now it's just, okay, we're joining together.
Well, it seems like this is more Shane trying to, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type deal. Because right now his enemy is his father.
Right.
And, Taker and shit didn't like Vince either because Taker obviously felt screwed from that whole
that's a good
debacle.
point.
So I could see it. I could see where it ties together. I still think it's kind of, going back and watching this like we are now, it is kind of silly sometimes.
Yeah, it's just like all of a sudden.
Because now DX.
Now they're going to get along.
DX broke up and now you got fucking Triple H and China and the ministry and all that shit.
Yeah, and I like I said last time, I totally forgot that Triple H was involved in this corporate ministry and all this. But anyways, the corporate ministry is going to interfere, and that's both groups combined. So now you got a group of 12 people, 13 people.
Yeah, it's ridiculous looking in the ring.
Yeah.
It might as well be. It's like, oh, there's another promotion.
Right. It's like NWO takeover or something.
Yeah.
So anyways, Vince gets out into the ring. He knocks out Shane, and you get a bunch of brutal chair shots all around. Austin gives Undertaker a stunner. Shane's going to attack Vince McMahon after Vince gets hit with the chair. Austin stuns Shane. And you get a big bear bash party at the end of the SmackDown. And good little kickoff for a SmackDown. Yeah, the show won't be on again until August, but a nice little pilot nonetheless. So hopefully you enjoyed that last week. And we're going to pick up from there now. So let's get into it with Heat 40 from May 2nd, 1999. And we get a basic promo pretty much from Shane McMahon saying that at Over the Edge, which is the next pay-per-view, we're not going to get to it this week. We're going to get up to No Mercy. And the following week is the Over the Edge pay-per-view in the United States. So Shane announces that Steve Austin is going to defend this title against The Undertaker. Shane McMahon will be the special guest referee again. And then Shane starts giving a rambling promo about wanting to get Vince in the ring tomorrow night on Raw. And all throughout that episode of Heat, and I'll talk a little bit more about it when we get to the Attitude Update at the end of our episode, the corporation basically runs the show. They're like in every segment, the corporate ministry, which is going to be the way it is for the next couple of weeks. The storylines for both shows, both of these Raws coming up, the May 3rd, May 10th, is just strictly corporate ministry. So, makes sense why our episode is called Corporate Ministry this week. Because they got their hand all over that shit. So, that brings us to Raw 310 on May 3rd. And this is in San Diego, California. It was taped a week earlier. And we get Corporate Ministry. We get a promo for them. So, it's basically Shane McMahon. But let's take a listen to what he has to say.
The corporate ministry, the most omnipotent force ever created in the World Wrestling Federation, and I will not be held responsible for anyone who was foolish enough to get in any one of their faces.
Sounds like he's inherited that chant.
You know, many of you are saying that Shane McMahon is ruthless. Many of you say that Shane McMahon has a black heart, that Shane has no compassion, and that's where I draw the line, because I understand what compassion is about. I understand what compassion is for all of you. I don't expect you to know what it is for me, because none of you can walk in my boots. But compassion, I can only imagine what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. I can only imagine what it's like to go down to the corner liquor store, get the cheapest vodka, and drown your sorrows away every Friday night.
What's that like, JR?
I can only imagine, oh my God, I hate my boss. I hate my life. I hate my wife. But there's a word that compassionate people like myself call people like you, and that word is losers.
Whoa! Losers!
Me, on the other hand, I've got it all. I got looks. I got money. I got the brain power. How many of you would ever fathom the responsibility that I have, the power that I have in my hand? And whether it be Vince, Stone Cold Steve Austin, or The Rock, it feels good to reach out there to seize that power, to have destiny in my hands. I could be out there ready to take it and crush it at any time. How many of you would have the balls the size of grapefruits to slap your maker in the face? Not a single one.
He's talking about his dad, Vince McMahon. And he did slap him.
Rock. What should I say?
All right, so there you had it. You had Shane McMahon. He comes out with his gang of the corporate ministry, like we were just saying before. It's like half the roster, and they're just coming out to the ring. And they got their new theme music, so you get a mashed up version of the corporate theme, No Chance in Hell. Then you get the Undertaker's music mixed with it. So, cool little song there. Jerry Lawler gets on there right away, says this is a corporate merger from hell. Shane gets in the ring there at that point, and he says that he's the greatest force in the WWF now. He's created the greatest force, the corporate ministry, and he's not responsible for their actions if you get in their face. And then he starts to shit on the crowd a little bit, and I thought this was funny. He says, "I can't imagine what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. And you go to the corner liquor store, and you get the cheapest bottle of vodka, and you drown your sorrows away every Friday." And Jerry Lawler cuts in. Says, "What's that like, JR?" But I
actually thought this was a really, really good promo from Shane.
Yeah, it definitely was.
One of the highlights of everything we're about to cover today.
Yep. Yeah, hell of a good promo. And then he continues on from there. But before I even go on with what he continued to say, I was thinking to myself, is he talking about me? Live paycheck to paycheck. All right, check it. That's how it is.
I got that.
Go to the corner liquor store. Okay, yep, that one right down the street. Yep,
I do that. Town Liquors.
Yep. Get the cheapest bottle. Not a vodka, but hey, I get the cheapest rum. Yep.
Get the Captain Morgan ripoff.
And on Friday night, yeah, be having some drinks. And that just makes you realize that's how the fucking country is. That's how most people are.
That's called the working middle class.
Yes. So he continues from there. He says, "Oh my God, I hate my boss. I hate my life. I hate my wife. But there's a word compassionate people like myself have for you: losers." So really, just sticking it to us, working class people. And then Shane says, "I got the looks. I got the money. I got the brain power." So he's fucking like full on heel, like Vince McMahon style heel at this point, like on that level of how Vince was just, I don't know, just a couple months back. And Shane's just jumping right into that.
Yeah, the apple
role.
didn't fall far from the tree.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then Shane drops his line that he's loving lately. As how many of you would have the balls the size of grapefruit to slap your maker? So the grapefruit thing is just something he constantly uses for his ball size. And then from there, Shane's going to pass the mic to Triple H. Triple H goes on for a little bit and talking about his match with The Rock at Over the Edge. he talks about how The Rock is always, all he does is come out here and raise his eyebrow, drop an elbow, stays up all night thinking of catchphrases and marketing ploys, and he comes out here singing his little songs, doing his comedy routine. Triple H says, but at Over the Edge, there'll be nothing funny about how I end your career. So we're getting...
Yeah, a pretty shitty promo from Triple H.
He's basically copying what Austin's already said before. You know, you do your little sing-alongs, and he's stealing that from Austin.
Yeah, there's nothing original, really out of it. At least, The Rock's going to come, if you had a rebuttal to Triple H's promo, it would be creative and fresh.
Right. So now we got Pass the Mic going on here, basically. It's like, all right, now it's your turn. Pass
the mic. Hot potato.
Right. So now it goes to Undertaker. So let's take a listen to what Undertaker has to say to Austin, his upcoming opponent at Over the Edge and at No Mercy.
Steve Austin, we heard last night, will meet the Undertaker at Over the Edge in 3 weeks.
It's real simple. I hate everyone. But Austin, your name is on top of the list. Who in the hell do you think you are? You come out here and try and be everyone's savior. Well, let me tell you something, boy. I've let you go. I let you go your own way. I thought we might have been able to coexist, but that ain't gonna happen because now I'm not gonna play the role of savior. I'm the role of executioner. And Over the Edge, let me tell you what's gonna happen. First, I'm gonna take your title. Second, I'm gonna beat you like you've never been beaten before. Third, after I've beaten you, after I've taken your title, I'm gonna take your beaten carcass, throw it over my shoulder. I'm gonna walk out of the arena with you, and I'm gonna take you to Monday Night Raw, and you will be the ultimate sacrifice. You will be sacrificed to a power even greater than I. And then you will know my name is the Lord of Darkness. And there ain't a damn thing you or any of you can do about it.
Well, JR, according to The Undertaker, Austin's future looks pretty bleak.
All right, so Undertaker gets it. JR reminds the audience listening that Stone Cold's going to meet The Undertaker in 3 weeks at Over the Edge. Undertaker gets on the mic, and he's such a random, goofy line. And it's been, you probably have heard it numerous times on different podcasts or on different video packages, but The Undertaker says, I hate everyone. And then it's
like a sad goth teenager.
Yeah.
I hate everyone, bitch. Roar.
But it's so out of place because he doesn't continue what he's saying right away. It's like a pause. And then he continues it. But Austin, your name is on top of the list. You come out here and try to be everyone's savior. Let me tell you, boy. I let you get your own way. Yeah. I thought we could coexist, but that's not going to happen because now I'm not playing the role of savior. I'm the executioner. What the
I knew. I was watching this, and I knew that was
the line.
His punchline. Yeah.
So, in my note, I put more nonsense talk from The Undertaker.
Yeah. Or acid talk.
So he says he's going to take his title, first off. Secondly, he's going to beat him like he's never been beaten before. And then third, I'm going to take your carcass, take you to Monday Night Raw, and you'll be the ultimate sacrifice. You'll be sacrificed to a power even greater than I. Then you will know my name is the Lord of Darkness, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. So they're just reminding us that there's this higher power or greater power than The Undertaker that's behind all this. And he's going to sacrifice Austin for this higher power. Anyway, So it continues on. The promo continues on from there, and we pass the mic back to Shane. So Shane gets it, and he gets interrupted by Mankind. Mankind's going to come out, and Mankind comes out with Big Show, Shamrock, Test, all the rejects from the corporation, basically. Everyone that was fired.
Everyone on the unemployment line.
Yeah. So they've been all kicked out recently, except for Mankind. He's been out for a while. He's the original corporate member.
Yeah.
The corporate dude love, going all the way back to April of '98. So that was a year ago at that point. So they come out with their Hacksaw Jim Duggan 2x4s.
Because they're working man now, and that's who they're fighting for. And the working man carries around 2x4s.
Yeah, like what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a working man, so I got to carry this around because you never know I might need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait until 2019 when there's a shortage of tradespeople. What does the working man carry around now? Not a 2x4.
Yeah, what the hell?
EBT card.
Oh, man. All right, so Mankind says every one of us at some point worked for the corporation. I guess you could call us disgruntled former employees. And they formed this union. This is going to be their group. This is their new stable. So now we have an opposing stable. Yeah, you just took two that were opposing each other in the corporation and the ministry. Now you combined them. So now you have to create another new one to compete against them. So
we'll make our own team.
Yeah. So they form this union, and Mankind says we don't have any fancy initials. We're not Fist or SAG. We're simply a union of people you ought to respect, son. Well, I guess we do have initials. Just call us Up Yours, Shane. So, union of people you ought to respect, son. He translates that to Up Yours, Shane. So we do have an acronym. I thought it was pretty funny because he was able to pull it off.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That
he would be the guy to pull it off. So,
and that could easily have been fucked up if he didn't say the line right, and then it wouldn't say "Up Yours, Shane."
Imagine how bad this new stable would be without Mankind, and one of the other guys had to do the talking.
Yeah, imagine if Big Show was the one.
Yeah. Listen here. And then you'd have Shamrock. What the fuck?
Yeah,
I'm coming back for my job.
Yeah, you don't have anybody other than Mankind that can get on the mic. Big Show can't do it. Shamrock can't do it.
Yeah.
Test fucking definitely can't do it.
Has he even spoke yet?
No, I don't think so.
It's crazy that he's even employed.
All right, so Mankind kind of wraps it up here. It says, since you took over, our paychecks have sucked, Shane.
I like that. That was good.
And Shane's just like, okay, whatever.
He smiles. Yeah. He smiles when he says it. Like, yeah, that's right. So Mankind, he gets the boys. He says, all right, guys, let's go grab some balls. So they hit the ring. Shane runs out. He starts chirping on the ramp. And that kind of concludes that opening segment. And then later, about 10 minutes later into the show, Shane comes back out already. So it's just 10 minutes later on the runtime. And Shane's out there. And then also the McMahons, which is Vince, Stephanie, and now Linda is making her TV debut. And she comes backstage with the McMahons. And Shane makes a bunch of corporate matches as he's out there. And we'll talk about those when we get to the Attitude Update. But McMahon looks on in disgust with all the different matches that Shane's making. And it's all matches between this new union and the corporate ministry. But the big match Shane makes is The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. So even though they're both babyfaces now, Shane's going to put them in a match against each other. Because, hey, they still hate each other anyway. Because they're both babyfaces doesn't mean they just forget that they were in this feud for over a year. So Triple H says something to Shane, and apparently Triple H gave Shane the idea to make this a lumberjack match, and it's going to be a corporate ministry lumberjack match. So all the lumberjacks will be
corporate ministry members. Vince comes out to the ramp with a mic. Stephanie and Linda follow behind him. Shane claims to be running the show now. Vince says he's making a big mistake. He says, you better get your stuff together because your family is not standing behind you. And Shane's going to challenge Vince to a match during this night, which is crazy because it's like that's a big deal. And it's just all of a sudden randomly going to be tonight. But hey, they're rushing things here. So Vince says, no. And he says, maybe you'll listen to your mother. Then this was great. Linda starts talking to Shane, and then immediately Shane just cuts her off and says, shut your mouth, Mom.
Such a dickhead.
And then Vince grabs him like right away by the shirt. Like, don't fucking talk to your mother like that. And the McMahons, they end up leaving the ring. And Shane has one last bomb to drop here. He says, hey, Vince, I can have him do it again. Who do you think was the mastermind behind the Undertaker abducting your little girl? How do you think the Undertaker got in our house and got her teddy bear? How do you think the pictures were taken? It was all me. So I like that. I mean, it made sense. So at least,
I thought it did.
And like I had said before, I think it was a couple weeks back when Stephanie was abducted and everyone had their ass beat backstage. Shane was the only one that wasn't touched. And he was just like, huh? What happened? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good catch,
Yeah,
bro.
so that's like a typical like a horror movie thing. Like, oh, everyone's dead? Oh, what happened? Like, oh, I just showed up here. Yeah, so looks like they thought ahead on that one a little bit. So that continues there, and this was funny. He says, Stephanie, who do you think picked out your wedding dress? Wasn't it the bomb? The fucking bomb. I forgot about the bomb. That shit's the bomb. Bomb diggity. So anyways, Vince runs into the ring. He gets beat down by the corporate ministry. And he says, I'm going to take that as a yes. I'll see you later tonight. And Vince says, you're damn right. So they're going to have their match later tonight. Stephanie and Linda pleading with Vince not to do it. Okay, in backstage promos, they're doing this. And you get a couple of those within the first, the next hour or so. So there we go. We have that all set up. So the table is set for some big matches here on this Raw. Shane versus Vince. The Rock versus Austin. So looks like we have a hell of a Raw in store. But it took them like 35 minutes to set up the show. That's a hell of a lot.
It's all talking.
Right.
Like, was this a fucking drama?
Well,
there was like no rest. There was one match, I think, right?
Yeah, I think there may have been a match to open up the show, like for the first like 3 minutes.
There was a match.
And then the promo was right after the first match. I think it was like Billy Gunn or something.
Was it Billy Gunn against
maybe X-Pac?
No, I don't think it was X-Pac. I forget, but Billy Gunn was all jacked up. He's like shredded and shit.
Yeah, it looked good.
And he's got his own song and shit. Yeah, because a chick comes from the crowd, right?
Yep.
Is this the Rush? She comes from the crowd.
Oh, no, that's the next one. That's next week.
That's the next one.
Yeah, we'll get into it. It'll pop up in the Attitude Update somewhere. We'll get back to that. All right, so let's go now to the match. We got Shane McMahon versus Vince McMahon. This match kicks off at 46 minutes, goes to 52 seconds. Shane McMahon comes out. There's a graphic that says he's the owner of the WWF now. And then immediately we get more talk as Shane gets there. Vince McMahon doesn't come out right away because Vince McMahon was just moments ago attacked by Triple H and Undertaker. So Vince eventually does come out, and he's stumbling, making his way down the ramp. He even falls on the ramp. But before that happened, before Vince pops his head out, he can barely walk. Shane wants the match to be over. He says, I knew you wouldn't show up. You can't face it. This is Shane McMahon's show now. He says, Mr. Referee, you should raise my hand and declare me the winner. And that's when Vince comes out. So McMahon falls on the ramp. Shane goes after him right away. Gives him a clothesline. Shane kicks Vince in the face. Shane tosses him into the ring. Or Helbnick is going to call for the bell, and now it officially starts. Shane is basically in total control here. Shane hits Vince with a Bronco Buster, then a lariat clothesline. Shane's going to try to hit a lariat again, but Vince ducks and hits Shane with the clothesline of his own. The crowd is fucking behind Vince McMahon big time here. Vince is going to give the Stone Cold Stunner to Shane, which I don't like personally.
No, I didn't like that either. And he starts barking in his face.
Right, he's doing all the Austin shit. It's like, Austin's,
I didn't like it. But knowing how this plays out, it's kind of fucking very troll.
Yeah.
This, after, in hindsight, knowing how this storyline ends up playing out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because we know what he's going to become, what he's going to do.
Yeah. So he's like, the crowd's all behind him now. It's like, how much more could you get the crowd behind Vince McMahon? Have him act like Stone Cold. They're going to pop. Because they do. They pop like fucking crazy. Big time.
So he gets the win. So he gives the stunner and he gets the 3 count for the win. After just getting his ass kicked. And now he has like superhero strength to fight back and hit the stunner and get the win. All right, so you have that there. That wasn't much. That was like 4 minutes in total for the entire segment, basically 4 or 5 minutes. And then we get to the end of the show where we have the Corporate Ministry Lumberjack match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. I don't recall if this is even for the title. I don't think it is. Do you remember if they said anything about this being the title match? I don't think it is.
I don't think it was a title match.
All right. So this kicks off at 1 hour and 26 minutes.
Not that it matters but whatever.
The match.
I don't think it was a title match.
The match is literally going to last like a minute, and then it's going to be a shit show. So the match begins with The Rock and Austin. They attack the Lumberjacks. So they get into the ring. They don't fight each other. They go after all the corporate ministry outside the ring. Shane McMahon comes to the ring. The corporate ministry enters the ring, and they all gain the advantage on Austin and Rock. The ref's going to ring for a DQ right away. So not even much of a match at all there. Vince appears on the ramp, and he sends the Union to the ring, followed by the rest of the locker room. And then everyone's brawling in the ring. They go to the stage. Austin goes up to the stage, and he's underneath the stage. Then The Rock gets attacked by Triple H. Undertaker and Chyna go up onto the ramp. Austin comes out from the Brood's entrance on the ramp, that little elevator shaft thing.
Yeah.
So Austin comes up from that, and he attacks The Undertaker. And then they go back into the elevator shaft, and they're fighting down into the area. So they're gone for a couple minutes.
Later.
So then it continues with The Rock and Triple H. And Chyna gives a low blow to The Rock. Triple H is going to slam him onto the steel ramp. The Rock fights back and lands a punch on Chyna. The crowd pops for that, of course. Austin comes back up the shaft alone. Triple H knocks The Rock off the stage. Austin then attacks Triple H. Undertaker comes back up. He hits Austin from behind with a big boot. And then he tosses Austin off the stage and through a table. So pretty big spot there for Austin to be taking a table shot off of the ramp. We don't usually see that from him. He's a little bit more cautious in his stunts. So this was rare. So, and to just be on Raw too, not even a pay-per-view. Well, he did it. He went through the table, and the show ends basically with The Rock and Austin laid out, and the corporate ministry gained the upper hand on this episode. Undertaker and Triple H look on down at their upcoming opponents at Over the Edge pay-per-view. So again, this just like the heat before, the corporate ministry dominated the show from top to the bottom, and we'll go into a little bit more detail in the Attitude Update about all the different matches that were involved with the corporate ministry. That wraps things up there. I thought it was an excellent episode of Raw, so definitely worth going back to check out. Some good shit there.
Yeah, even though, there is that 35 minutes of drama and, talking and everything, it plays out well. Like, because it's captivating.
Right.
It's not just like, the shit you see today where they're just like fucking talking to talk. Like, they're actually continuing the story and, laying out the plot basically for the next couple weeks leading up to the pay-per-view. Oh,
Yeah, it's
really
good shit. It's worth watching.
You got new people showing up and shit.
All right, so let's go to the Heat. The next Heat is on May 9th. That's Heat 41. And The Rock's going to come out with a broken arm, so apparently he was injured when he was thrown off the ramp by The Undertaker. Or by Triple H, rather. And he says he's got a cast on and shit. So The Rock quickly goes through, the basic catchphrases and all that shit, talking about Triple H and that it's going to be no laughing matter at Over the Edge. He's kind of giving his rebuttal to what Triple H said on Raw about how it's not going to be funny. You come out here and do your little joke routines. So The Rock says it's not going to be a laughing matter. And Triple H and the corporate ministry come out and they just kind of stare down The Rock. And the Union comes out and they just kind of look at each other as the show goes off the air. So nothing really great there. Just more of the tension building between the corporate ministry and the Union, the new Union. So that brings us now to a big Raw. That's May 10th, 1999. This is Raw 311. And it's live from Orlando, Florida. And this is the highest rated Raw in history. With 8.1 or an 8.2 rating. And largely due to the fact that there was no Nitro on that night because Nitro was preempted for college. No, not college. The NBA. NBA playoffs are happening at this point in May of 99.
Which would have been what? The Chicago Bulls, probably.
Yeah, all the Jazz. Bulls, Jazz. Did they play each other? Bulls, Jazz?
Yeah. They played each other in Jordan's last two, I think, back to back.
Check.
Actually, no, Jordan left in 90. It doesn't fucking matter. We're talking wrestling.
That's true. No, the finals were the Knicks and the Spurs in 99.
Ah, all right. Yeah, that would have been the year after Duncan's rookie season. They had Duncan and David Robinson. Celtics should have had Duncan. Instead we got Ron Mercer and Charles
Yeah, fuck.
Bert fucking Latino, Walter McCarty, and Travis Knight.
Shit.
All right,
yeah,
back to wrestling.
Shitty years there.
That's depressing. Yeah, I remember being still pumped. That's my first true letdown in Boston sports history, honestly.
All right, so you have Shane and the corporate ministry coming into the building, and then you get Vince showing up with the Union, and they all walk in with their 2x4s. Oh, man. Just a random thing. They show a crowd shot, and they got Monica Seles, the tennis player. She was in the crowd.
She was big.
Yeah, but she looked weird though. She looked like she didn't know how to clap or wave. Like she just didn't know how to do it. Like it was so awkward looking. And I was thinking maybe she's just hammered.
She's just used to being clapped and waved at.
But I was thinking maybe she's like, all right, they asked me to come to this thing, but I'm fucking getting hammered because how am I going to enjoy this? So there's Monica Seles, and we're going to go to actually, this is the night that there's a match at the very start because the opening promo is not until 13 minutes in. So yeah, there was a match, and I'm pretty sure it was a Billy Gunn against, I think it was X-Pac. Could be wrong. But you got Vince and the Union come out, and we're going to get a little promo. We're going to get the return of the Commish. The Commish is back in action again, HBK. So let's take a little listen to this Union promo.
All right, Shane McMahon. Shane, you've turned your back on your entire family. No longer will you ever be able to look at your family for support in any manner whatsoever, ever again. So tonight, Shane, if you get my drift, maybe you can look to the Union label.
Uh-oh.
Come on, Shane, what about it? If you've got the guts, because we damn sure aren't hard to find.
He wants the ministry out here now? Very tense situation here. That's a father talking to a son. That Big Show, look at him, 500 pounds with a 2x4. Uh-oh. Looks like the sun's not going to disappoint. There are certainly strength in numbers. Advantage corporate ministry in that department.
Family! I don't need your family!
Oh, please, come on! That chant directed toward that young man, Shane McMahon.
I've got my own family! The corporate ministry! And tonight, after we destroy you and your little union, it will all be mine!
Shane gonna do some union busting. Wait a minute. Lights out again. What's this?
According to the old weather report, the weather is much nicer in San Antonio than it is in Florida.
What? It's Shawn Michaels, the commissioner.
Obviously, boys and girls, the sheriff is back in town. Now, Shane, I saw what you did last week in your matchmaking. Well, it was okay, but it lacked a little something that the old commish is going to help you out with this week. Now, before we even get to tonight's show, let's talk about Over the Edge, shall we? Let's change all this. I don't like that. The WWF champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin, defending against The Undertaker with Shane McMahon as special referee. I like that, but we need a little something else. You know something, Vin Man? You and I have been up and down the road. We've been around the block more times than one of the Godfather's red light specials. But I'm going to call things the way I see it. So I tell you what I'm going to do out of the goodness of my heart. I'm going to add the old man, that's you, Vin Man, to this match. So there will be 2 referees at Over the Edge for this title match. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker with Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon as special referee.
Whoa.
Now, on to tonight's festivities. See, this whole show is going to gotta change this a lot. Gotta change this.
All right, so at the start of this promo, you have Vince McMahon heading out to the ring. And I thought he just looked like he's the typical presidential candidate out on the campaign trail. He's got his blue button down on,
Yep,
with his khaki pants, but he's got his sleeves rolled up like he's like one of the regular dude,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm one of you working class people.
So he comes.
They all act like they all want to be working class until it comes time to help the working class. You fucking douchebags, rich people.
It's true.
I could say that because there probably aren't any fucking millionaires listening to this podcast.
And if there are, send some money.
Yeah. How about a fucking donation by PayPal? Hit me up. Hit me up on Twitter. I'll give you my PayPal. You can send to friends and family though. I don't want you to hit me with a fucking $10.99.
All right, so we got the damn 2x4s back out there. Vince is with Mankind, Shamrock, Big Show, Test, and he's got some Riot Squad members. Now, I guess I can understand why, but how badass or how non-badass does that make your group look? Like, you're coming out there like you're ready to kick some corporate ministry ass, but you have to get some additional Riot Squad members to help you out.
I didn't like this.
No?
No.
You mean the whole twist and everything that happened there?
With the Briscoe, Patterson, and HBK, and I didn't like it.
That's kind of cheesy.
I didn't think it was bad, but I just didn't like. I don't know. I'm like, it wasn't terrible, but I just didn't like it. For some reason, I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, the first thing I thought when I saw the Riot Squad members is, all right, so who the fuck is under there now? Like,
yeah, that's the thing. It's like you knew, like, all right, like, who's the mystery guy?
And it's funny. I wrote in my notes that my first thought, like I just said, is that there has to be somebody. And then I thought to myself, well, they all look pretty small, so it's probably nobody. Maybe I said I actually wrote so. There's probably no funny business here. And I was wrong. But I expected it, and then I looked at it and was like, nah, there's nobody there. Wrong.
Imagine it would have been the Big Show. Like, yeah, who's that big 7-footer in riot gear?
All right, so he had some of the promo. Let's talk about some of the promo here. You got Shane. McMahon's talking to Shane. He says, Shane, you turn your back on your entire family. Don't look for support ever again. And maybe you can look to the union. Vince wants corporate ministry to come out. Shane makes his way out with his goons. He's flanked by The Undertaker and Triple H. Says, I don't need your family. I got my own family now, the corporate ministry. And then he gets the loud asshole chants from the crowd. So now they've gone from one McMahon to another McMahon. The lights go out, and HBK appears on the Titantron. So he says, obviously, boys and girls, the sheriff is back in town. HBK criticizes Shane's matchmaking from last week. So this week, HBK wants to do some of his own matchmaking. So he goes through a list of different matches. And then he begins to focus on Over the Edge. And he's going to add Vince McMahon to be another special guest referee for the Austin versus Undertaker match. And Vince looks all happy, all pleased. But this could all be going the way McMahon wants, right? If he wants to get that title off of Austin, in reality, now Austin might think he's on his side, but there might be something else going on there. We'll have to see. All right, so after the audio, Sean continues to discuss the card for the rest of the show. Like I said numerous times already, we'll talk about that more in the Attitude Era update. But it's basically all corporate ministry versus the union matches. With one exception, there's Sable versus Deborah in an evening gown match. So that was kind of random to throw in there, but they're going to have that. HBK warns her that she'll be stripped of the title if she doesn't show up. So Sable has apparently been hiding behind Nicole Bass and not defending her title. But basically what's going on here is Sable's on her way out. She's going to be gone within the next week or two and not be back for about 4 years. But then we got a big announcement for the main event of this episode of Raw. HBK announces that the main event's going to be Stone Cold, The Rock, and Vince McMahon versus The Undertaker, Triple H, and Shane McMahon. And he says there'll be a special ref. And that special ref will be in the ring. So HBK has the Riot Squad reveal who they are. First one is Patterson. The one to the right is Gerald Briscoe. And then in the middle is number 2, HBK. So it was a pre-recorded video, which is stupid. I hate when they reveal it and you see that, it was pre-recorded. But they have interactions, like he was gonna say something. Like it just comes off as shitty because you don't know what the other guy's gonna respond with. If you're not really there, you already recorded it. So anyway,
it's why they don't really interrupt them and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So HBK starts dancing and stripping in the ring. He starts hitting his dick with the microphone. He's ridiculous, and HBK says he's the special ref. He's the headline of the showstopper, Shawn Michaels. Well, that brings us to the main event now. And this is happening at 1 hour, 25 minutes. So that leaves this match to have a whole maybe 7 minutes of airtime. So there's the match. HBK is the special guest ref. He comes out in his fucking little biker shorts and wearing a Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy shirt. So he had started his school at this point. Vince comes down. Triple H goes after The Rock and stomps away. Vince is brought into the ring. Taker nails Vince with a tombstone, which I thought was pretty cool. Shane and Undertaker drag Vince out of the ring. Taker begins to choke Vince with a cord, which we're starting to see a lot in like every match.
A lot of that, yeah. A lot of strangulation with the cords.
Austin comes on out a little later, as he likes to do. He always has this delayed entrance lately. If he's involved in a tag team match, he's coming out a couple minutes later. I think it's kind of maybe just popped the crowd. But anyways, he pops the crowd, and Austin rips into The Undertaker. He chokes him out with the cord, and Triple H gets hit him to the announce table. Taker's going to fight back
Austin is shoved over the barrier. Shane was also hit with the Rock's cast earlier, so he was injured. Triple H gets dumped over the barrier, and then they all fight back into the ring, except the McMahons. The McMahons stay out of the ring. Austin goes for a stunner on the Undertaker. Taker pushes him off into Triple H. Triple H sets up the pedigree. Austin counters and sends Triple H into the corner with a catapult. Now, this is all going to sound familiar in a little while because this whole fucking routine that happened here on this Raw is going to happen again at No Mercy pay-per-view in the match. No Mercy, it's the same exact thing. So he gets the catapult into the corner. Triple H walks around dazed, and then The Rock hits the rock bottom on Triple H. So it's slightly different because The Rock wasn't involved at No Mercy, but it's just a variation of it. It's like pretty much the same exact thing. And this was sloppy, and it's sloppy again at No Mercy. It's like not everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing, so it gets kind of confusing for some of them. Especially, I think Triple H is the one that kind of fucks it up the most, both times.
Yeah, I think he's. I don't like him in that No Mercy match at all.
Yeah, he's not ready. He's not ready for this.
No, he looks lost. I don't know. We'll be covering it, though. I got some things to say.
All right, so Austin gets clotheslined out of the ring by The Undertaker. Taker interrupts the count and chokes The Rock, but he gets pulled out to the floor by Austin. The Rock clotheslines Triple H to the floor, and now Shane tosses Vince back into the ring at that point. Shane drops some elbows on Vince. Austin gets back in the ring, hits Shane with the stunner. Vince goes for the cover, actually, at this point. And Austin pulls him off. He doesn't want Vince to cover Shane. Austin pulls him off. Austin stuns Shane again. And then he gets the pin for himself. So even though Vince is supposed to be on his team, Austin's still like, fuck you, you're not getting the win. I'm going to get the win. So Austin and HBK drink beers together as the show goes off the air. So decent stuff there. Kind of sloppy in some cases, but I mean, it's what the crowd wanted back in May of '99, just a shit show and to see Austin, and that's what they got. So, and then you get the beer celebration, of course, which is funny because again, when we cover No Mercy, just a little while, we see this similar thing going on here. Where you have Austin having a beer bash with somebody that you wouldn't think you would have one with. In this case, with HBK, and then later at No Mercy, it's actually going to be with X-Pac, of all people.
Which was cool. Yeah.
Well, random.
I like the X-Pac one.
All right, so the show goes to a close at this point, and that'll lead us now to Heat on May 16th, 1999, which is actually the same date of the No Mercy pay-per-view. This is a taped Heat, of course. So that's Heat 42. And it starts with a corporate ministry promo. Shane McMahon, Undertaker, Triple H. And it's more building up to Over the Edge, basically. Shane says the Undertaker is going to be the champion in a week. And he'll be the one to raise his hand, make the 3 count. Shane's going to set up a match for Austin the next night on Raw, which we'll cover next week, where it's going to be Austin versus Triple H. And Shane gets pissed about getting knocked around with The Rock's cast. So The Rock is going to be barred from wearing the cast at Over the Edge. And then Shane's going to set up another match for the following Raw the next night on May 17th, which is The Rock versus The Undertaker in a casket match. So, like Heat usually does, it's kind of just setting up the next night and continuing the promos and continuing the stories from the previous Raw. So Taker mentions how The Rock had a casket and a hearse, and he made a mockery of the whole funeral process, which was prior to Backlash. And I was thinking that. It's like, we have The Undertaker, but then you have The Rock with a casket gimmick and the burial and doing this funeral thing. So it's funny that The Undertaker mentions that. It's like, hey, you made a mockery of doing that. That's my thing. So now we're going to have a casket match. Undertaker states that he's being summoned by a higher power above him, and that higher power wants Austin's title. his mind, his body, and his soul. And at Over the Edge, you will pay the ultimate sacrifice. And that's about it. That kind of wraps up things leading to this pay-per-view, this UK special pay-per-view. No Mercy in Manchester, England. And the big match is going to be a triple threat match. It's an anything goes match. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker versus Triple H. So,
which on paper looks like a can't miss fucking main event. Like,
but when we realize that Triple H is not the Triple H that he would become in the next couple of years, he's not quite there yet, then it's a totally different match.
Yeah. They could throw that out the window.
So if you want to watch that on the pay-per-view, the match starts at 1 hour, 48 minutes and goes to the close of the show. So you get about a half hour. This would have been probably a fun one. Actually, I don't know. Maybe fun to make fun of. But as a watch-along.
No.
Well, not now.
This would have been a terrible. I would just be bitching the whole time.
Yeah, I want to hear about what you had to bitch about as we go through this. All right, so let's just get into it then. Triple H is going to make his entrance, and he's actually made some changes. He's not wearing his long pants anymore, his long tights. He's now wearing trunks, which will become his go-to gear from that point on. And he also has new theme music. Okay, just the prior week, he had some shitty-ass music on one of the Raws. And now he has this good shit. He's got this good song. I don't even know what it's called, but I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just fucking pretty damn cool. So this is also marks the first time that Triple H is in the main event, albeit it's the UK pay-per-view, but nonetheless, it's Triple H in a main event. And Austin's going to go out there, and the action's going to start right away in the aisleway. As Austin's matches generally do, this is a very similar formula to previous matches that we've talked about, where it just kicks off in the aisleway. They fight back to the entrance set. They fight all around the open area of the entrance set. And that's what's pretty much going on here. But this is even shittier because the Undertaker, he gets the Smoking Skull belt and he goes to hit Austin with it a couple times, and it looks like shit each time, like a weak ass shot. And they didn't do a good job selling it at all. So that happens right from the start on this match. The three of them go at it in that open area near the entrance. Undertaker's going to choke Austin with the cables, so we get that fucking thing again. It's just routine. JV, we talked a little bit about it before. You said these guys just look tired.
Yeah, they look, especially Triple H and Taker. I think they look very sluggish. Like not like they're in their best condition. I don't know if it's, and I mentioned, I think maybe it's due to the travel. Because, flying to the UK and all that, the travel does do a wear and tear. Like, I know when I travel a long flight, never mind, across the ocean to another country, and you're dealing with the time zone changes and everything, I'm always a little sluggish. It takes me a day or so to really get used to myself. And these guys got to, fly out there and then perform basically daily.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who knows what they're probably doing talk shows and radio shit before the pay-per-view and all that. A lot of promotional stuff. But there's just a lot of points where Triple H looks out of place, like he doesn't know what to do. I don't know if you would agree with that, but so you'd have, there are certain instances where you'll see Stone Cold and Undertaker going back and forth, and Triple H is just kind of standing there. Like, I know Triple H isn't supposed to attack Taker, but I don't know, do something, help Taker out, beat up Austin, make it look more like it's a fucking actual 2v1. And in some instances, I just feel like he looks lost.
Yeah, I noticed.
Like he doesn't know where. Like he's not in the right position in the ring.
Yeah, it just seems like whatever plan they had for it, if they had one, he didn't totally remember what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and how it's, when they zoom in, sometimes you can see the wrestlers talking. Yeah. Maybe it was just me, but it looked like Stone Cold was like bitching, and he looked frustrated, especially towards the end of the match.
Oh, he was.
He just what the fuck? Like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
And if you go back and I would if you listen to it just like watching it on TV, you might not get it. But if you listen to it on your computer with your headphones, you can hear a whole shit ton of different spots where they were going over stuff. Just
yeah. See, that's the thing. I was listening to it with my headphones on and all that, and I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Triple H's fault. Maybe it was just maybe they didn't have time to get together and kind of go over the match beforehand. I don't know. Maybe it might not have been Triple H. Could have been Taker. But I really don't get the feeling that it was Austin, because Austin seemed frustrated with both of the opponents. Not frustrated because he was acting, because it's a fucking 1v2.
Right.
But just because, like, from a profession, like, it just didn't seem like they were
hitting the right spots.
They were hitting all the spots. And he's a perfectionist. Like, you listen to his podcasts and shit. He's all about having, like, a good match. He doesn't like sloppy shit. So I'd actually love to hear his opinion of that match if he remembers it.
Yeah, that'd be a good question.
But I think you nailed it on the head. Triple H, I don't think he was ready yet.
Yeah, that's probably the big part about it all. So he's not ready for prime time at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so let's continue on with what's going on in the match. Taker and Triple H do double team Austin. Of course, there are those spots, but they do that. Austin ducks, and Triple H makes a comeback in the aisleway. Then they finally make their way to the ring. So that's at 1 hour and 55 minutes. So this match kicked off at 1 hour 48, and it's been 7 minutes before they actually all get into the ring. And it's not even going to last that long, because they're going to be right back out of the ring in just mere minutes. Austin's going to hit his press. That's the first thing he does when he gets into the ring. He does that to Triple H. Undertaker breaks it up, goes for a quick cover. Earl Hebner is the referee here. He counts to 2. Austin gets double teamed, and they end up fighting into the crowd. Austin comes back and fights them both off. Triple H and Undertaker regain the advantage and continue to beat on Austin outside the ring. This one part here really pissed me off, as always, with Earl Hebner, and this is at 2 hours, 8 seconds. Earl Hebner is pulling the chair out of Triple H's hands outside the ring. So Triple H is about to hit Austin with the chair shot, and then Earl Hebner grabs it and rips it from Triple H.
I saw that only because you pointed it out in the notes, and it is ridiculous.
This isn't anything goes match. What are you doing? Yeah. It's is the angle there that Austin is basically two on one? He's stuck in a 2-on-1, so he's trying to help his boy out or something. Maybe it's that, or maybe fucking Earl Hebner forgot that it's no DQ. He's like, no,
because he's done this before. I could have swore we've had this same gripe in other non DQ matches.
Yeah, he does. He does it, and it's just annoying. And I hate the way he does it too, because he's acting like he's all pissy.
Yeah,
fuck off.
It's like, did you forget the rules, fucking officiator?
Yeah, what are you mad about?
You're the fucking official.
It's not personal.
Yeah, no shit.
So
you're supposed to be a fucking impartial.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to pick a side. The fuck are you doing?
So that continues on, and just seconds later, and this is the kind of shit that continues to go up my ass too with Earl Hebner, is that seconds later, Austin gets the chair. He nails Triple H and The Undertaker with it right in front of Earl Hebner. Earl Hebner doesn't say a goddamn thing. So there you go. Austin gets Triple H back into the ring, goes for a 2 count. Austin, the beatdown of Austin continues from there. It's kind of back and forth. Austin gets beat up, and he makes a comeback. They do that numerous times. Triple H and Undertaker now briefly argue with each other, which is very similar to what happened when Undertaker and Kane were in a triple threat match with Stone Cold, where it was whoever pinned Austin would be the champion. They both covered him, and that's what led to the whole big title mix-up, which is months ago. So Triple H and Undertaker are doing that whole thing now, where they're arguing, and they want to get the pinfall. And I said this last time with that Kane and Undertaker Austin match, is that if they wanted the title off of Austin, they could have pinned each other. Undertaker could have pinned Triple H, or Triple H could have pinned Undertaker.
Yeah, no shit.
And then they get the belt off of him, and then they figure it out from there. Just give it to Shane. Give Shane the belt, and the corporation has the belt. Because now it's off Austin. That's the whole goal. The goal is not for them to be the champion. That's not what it's about. But that's how they're treating it. They're treating it as, I want to win. So Triple H wants to win. Undertaker wants to win. But yeah, they could have just went with, let's just pin each other. But I guess their competitive spirit doesn't allow for them to think that.
We have integrity here.
So Austin then takes on Triple H on the outside of the ring. He slams him into the ring post. Undertaker is back into the ring at that point and attacks Austin while Triple H is laid out on the ground from being hit with the ring post. And then Austin and Undertaker go at it. Taker gets on some shitty-ass wannabe MMA submission hold. It's like some leg hold. It looks like shit. It doesn't look like there's any pressure or anything going on in that move. You remember that spot?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's just Undertaker trying to be an MMA guy.
I hate when he tries to be MMA.
So Triple H goes in there and breaks that shitty hold, and they start to push each other. Taker hits Triple H from behind. And like I was just saying, I guess it kind of makes sense. They both want to be the champion, but that's why it's happening. Taker hits a low blow on Austin, rolls him into the ring. Triple H prevents Undertaker from choke slamming Austin. Taker then breaks a count for Triple H covering Austin. We get a sloppy exchange of potential finishing moves, which is what I just talked about in the last Raw. How they at the end of that 6-man tag match with Shane and Vince, that whole final exchange there was sloppy. It happens again here. This is at 2 hours, 6 minutes, 58 seconds if you want to see it. Taker goes for a tombstone. Austin reverses it. He goes for a stunner. Gets pushed off into Triple H. Triple H attempts to pedigree. Austin blocks that. Catapults Triple H back into the Undertaker. This spot looked good, though. At this point, it looks like they nailed it down and got it right. And Taker grabs Triple H by the throat. Triple H gets flung right into the Undertaker's hands, basically. And Undertaker's going to nail him with a choke slam. So they kind of saved the exchange right there. It started off pretty shitty. It started off with Triple H not knowing what he was doing. And Austin breaks the count. And he saves his title because Undertaker was going to pin Triple H to win the title. So Austin makes the save there. Austin hits the stunner on the Undertaker at 2 hours and 7 minutes, 33 seconds. Triple H breaks that count. Austin then hits Triple H with the stunner at 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 54 seconds, or just mere seconds later. Now Undertaker and Triple H are both laid out. Taker's going to break the count when Austin tries to pin Triple H. And then you get the corporate ministry make their way to the ring. The corporate ministry is going to beat up Austin, and this is all legal. Anything goes. Surprise, Earl Hebner didn't try to ring the bell. But that happens. X-Pac and Kane come out. The Brood comes out. Mankind comes out. It's a fucking shit show. Now, we know the Union was the storyline, but not all the Union is in the United Kingdom. So it was just Mankind that made the trip. Test isn't there. Shamrock's not there. And Big Show is not there either. The Rock's not there. So in replace of the Union and The Rock being involved in this, we get the Brood, Kane, and X-Pac involved instead. Which it all works out fine. Whatever. What's the fucking difference? So it becomes a shit show. Everyone's fighting in the aisle. That leaves Austin and Triple H alone in the ring. They're going at it. Shane and Chyna are also at ringside watching the action. Chyna ends up getting in the ring at 2 hours, 10 minutes, 15 seconds. And this fucking part is...
This part is so stupid. This the cartwheel?
Yeah.
This was fucking horrible.
Triple H is holding Austin's arms back in the corner, and Chyna's walking up to him. And you think, Chyna's like going to punch him in the stomach or something. I'll punch him in the face. But Chyna randomly hits a backflip and then a cartwheel. And then she runs at Austin, and Austin just kicks her in the gut. So she's like doing all this weird shit, and then boom, kick to the gut. Prevents the whole thing. A fucking backflip and a cartwheel. Why the hell would she do that? She hasn't done that before.
It was stupid.
Ugh. Alright, so yeah, that was pretty shitty, and it's something you should probably go back and see, because it's so ridiculous. Austin whacks Triple H, he stuns Chyna, and then he stuns Triple H again, and he goes for the cover, he gets the win at 2 hours, 10 minutes, 50 seconds.
Shane rolls into the ring all pissed off. Then he runs out right away. X-Pac chases him. Shane gets tossed into the ring again. Austin clotheslines Shane, then hits Shane with the stunner. Austin sets up Shane for the Bronco Buster. X-Pac's going to nail the Bronco Buster on Triple H, on Shane, and then on Chyna. And then Austin and X-Pac are left in the ring celebrating, and they're drinking some beers together. But wait, not just X-Pac and Austin. Who else has to drink some beer? Earl Hebner. And Earl Hebner does his little fucking turnbuckle climb again, and pisses me off. Just looks like a little weasel with his beer, and he's acting like he's all fucking part of the show when he's fucking up the show. So anyway, you have that big bear celebration. Shane takes the X Factor. He gets back in the ring, takes an X Factor. Austin gives Triple H a beer. Lawler even points out that Triple H doesn't drink, but Austin gave him a beer anyway.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't drink. He used to be the DD and shit back in the day. Does he still not drink? Is he just not like
I don't think alcohol? He's never... Still doesn't drink.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Good for him.
So they all toast. Triple H...
Which means he must do some really weird shit. What's his vice, man? Everyone's got a vice. Probably doesn't smoke weed.
Probably into some...
You don't drink.
Sex shit.
Yeah.
So they all toast. They take a sip. And then this is like the Austin Rock spot here. But Rock is not there, so Triple H takes it instead. So Triple H takes a sip of beer, but immediately spits it out once he gets kicked and stunned. So he just put it in his mouth and spit it out seconds later. And then Austin's going to stun Shane again. And we got one last Bronco Buster by X-Pac to Triple H. The ending's pretty fun, but yeah, a lot of sloppiness in the match as a whole. So, and again, it's formulaic. It's the same shit that we've seen time after time lately in Austin matches. And we've seen Austin and Undertaker so often that, they're not really spicing it up much. They're kind of just paint by numbers at this point with their matches. But still, Attitude Era fun, but definitely nothing great. Definitely nothing you probably need to go back and watch. And it's not really tied to much. It's a UK pay-per-view. Generally, the UK pay-per-views don't even get mentioned on Raw. And they don't continue any storylines from them, usually. So, pretty cookie cutter. And I'll give it 2 smoking skulls. It's probably better than what you'll give it.
Yeah, 1.5.
You had to be lower.
Yeah, 1.5. No, I was going 1.5. Yeah. I was debating 1. I was like, not fucking 1. I mean, but it's 1.5. I mean, you can't put 3 fucking guys like this down to the guys. Triple H is supposed to be. He's an emerging superstar at this point, and I don't know. Him and Taker just didn't really bring it on during this match. I felt like Stone Cold was the only one that was, I don't know, like crisp, and he wasn't that crisp either.
Yeah, it had to be the jet lag of it all and the UK trip.
I think they were just tired because we obviously know all 3 of them are great performers, 3 of the greatest all time. But
and just not a good night.
Just because you're the greatest doesn't mean you don't have a bad day. Tom Brady's lost games. He's lost Super Bowls.
Yep.
He's still the GOAT.
Right. So, yeah. No biggie. Just not a good match.
Hulk Hogan had bad matches. What the fuck?
Yeah, most of them.
yeah, actually, yeah. Fuck. Eddie Guerrero's had bad matches. Actually,
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
All right, so that kind of wraps things up here before we get into our Attitude Era update. And there's a lot of corporate ministry stuff that we'll continue with. And I'm not going to totally break down everything, but I'll just give you a little rundown of the gist of what is going on in the other parts of the Attitude Era during these early weeks of May of 1999. So with the corporate ministry, starting on Heat from May 2nd, you get Ken Shamrock and Test to go up against the Acolytes. And you have the Big Boss Man issuing a challenge to Mankind. So they're going to have a match later in the Boiler Room Brawl on that same Heat. So this is the Heat that I said was just from
top to bottom. It's the corporate ministry versus various members of the union, or I think it's actually all union, but it could be anybody. But corporate ministry is the highlight of the show. And we got Big Show is going to lay out the Undertaker, and Big Show actually smashes up a car with his the Union 2x4. So that happens there.
It's an expensive 2x4 then.
All right, now we'll move on to Raw 310, May 3rd, 1999. You got the Mean Street Posse versus the Stooges. This is fun. This is good old fun there. We have a 3-on-1 match. Big Boss Man, Mideon, and Viscera take on Test. And this match sucks. Sloppy-ass match. Boss Man hits Mideon with a nightstick by accident. Test gets the pinfall victory. But then he gets beat down after the match. And the Union comes out and helps him with their 2x4s. Mankind takes on the Acolytes in a handicap match on this episode of Raw from May 3rd. Mankind actually gets whacked with a shovel. They beat his ass down in this match. Just getting his ass beat the shit by Bradshaw. Bradshaw gets the cover and gets the win. Triple H versus Ken Shamrock. This is the match that Triple H comes out to with some shitty ass theme music. Horrible. And Triple H is going to hit the pedigree. And Chyna's going to make the 3 count for Triple H to get the win here. So Chyna's a special guest referee in this match. So the odds are stacked up against the Union in all these different matches. The only fair match, I guess, would be Undertaker versus Big Show. And what ends up happening here is pretty funny. Is Paul Bearer has a bottle of ether, and Undertaker's going to pour it all over his elbow pad. But nobody notices that he has it. Nobody notices. Other than on commentary, they're saying, you can smell it. You can smell the ether. It's so strong. But the referee doesn't know about it. Big Show doesn't notice anything about it. And the Undertaker had just poured it all over himself. So Undertaker poured it on his elbow. And then he puts Big Show in a sleeper hold. And Big Show is dazing off. He doesn't totally get knocked out by it. And he makes a little comeback. But just at the last minute, Paul Bearer throws a baseball bat. And Undertaker's going to take the baseball bat and whack Big Show over the head with it. And it smashes into pieces. So, obviously gimmick, but I thought it looked cool. Cool visual of Big Show just getting a baseball bat smashed across his head. So, looked pretty badass, but obviously it's a gimmick. And then we continue on to Heat from May 9th. The Ministry comes out. And we're going to get more matches set up with the Union and shit. But before that, we got Triple H versus the Road Dogg. And Road Dogg was apparently injured. Triple H attacks the ribs and goes to work on him. Road Dogg's going to make a quick comeback. And then Billy Gunn runs in and distracts Road Dogg. And they have their little issue going on. So New Age Outlaws are falling apart again. Big Show versus Mideon. You got Big Show and Mideon.
Hate that guy.
Just looks so stupid. I like him better as Phineas. So Big Show comes in.
And that's not saying much either.
It's like nothing good. Big Show comes in and chokeslams Mideon as the announcers are calling him Showtime, the Showstopper. So that's like, isn't that Shawn Michaels? And so anyway.
Shawn Michaels is
right.
the showstopper.
I don't know why they would associate that with Big Show now. So anyway, Mideon has this pet eyeball. Big Show's gonna take it and smash it down Mideon's throat. Riveting shit happening here. Undertaker cuts a promo on the Titantron. He's building up his feud with Big Show, which is kind of like a side feud going on because he's supposed to be involved with Austin coming up at the next major pay-per-view Over the Edge. On Raw from May 10th, we get Big Show versus Paul Bearer. So they force Paul Bearer into a match. Stipulation here is that if Bearer doesn't show up, Undertaker's going to lose his title shot at Over the Edge. So Paul Bearer gets forced into the ring by HBK. Big Show elbow drops Paul Bearer. Big Show gets on the mic and says he wants the Undertaker to come down. The Undertaker's music hit, and the corporate ministry runs in, attacks Big Show. The Union runs down to clear things, and you just have a brawl there. You got Test versus the Big Boss Man, Nightstick on a pole match. That sucked. It's wicked long and it blows. And this is my first
this is awful.
This is a oh hell no candidate. So I'm putting that up there potentially. There might be something else coming up, but yeah.
No, I know what mine is. It's not the match. Don't worry.
Even though that's a candidate too, though, because it's a letdown of a match. All right, so you got Viscera Midian versus Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack is making his return from since April of '98. I believe is the last time he was Cactus Jack after he has his match with Terry Funk, and then he says, "You guys, you people, you don't respect Cactus Jack, and it's gonna be a long time until you see Cactus Jack again." So then he left. Well, Cactus Jack until he makes his return here, and Cactus Jack gets the win over Viscera and Midian. Farouk and Bradshaw are forced into a match with each other, and it's a Union Lumberjack match. So we had a corporate ministry Lumberjack match previously, and now there's a Union one, and it's Farouk versus Bradshaw. And this match is actually pretty solid, and get some good action between Ron Simmons and Bradshaw. We have a rematch between the Mean Street Posse and Patterson and Briscoe, and this is a loser leaves town match. The Stooges come out to Hulk Hogan's Real American music, and they pose and they rip their shirts off and do the whole thing there. Patterson and Briscoe are going to win the match with the figure four and a Boston Crab, and the Mean Street Posse is gone. As quick as they got here, they're gone. And they're actually not going to be gone for long. It's May, and I believe they'll be back in August, so they're going to be off for a couple months. Ken Shamrock takes on Chyna. Ken Shamrock didn't want to have this match until she slaps him 3 times. Then he snaps and he grabs her by the throat. Triple H runs in, attacks Shamrock, pokes Shamrock in the eyes. Shamrock knocks Triple H down to the ground, then hits Chyna with a belly-to-belly suplex. And Shamrock leaves all pissed off because he didn't want to do anything to Chyna. He didn't want to hurt a woman. So that was some lame shit. And then on the Heat from May 16, 1999, you get the Union versus DOA. Well, I didn't think they were around anymore. The fuck have they been? Well, anyway, they're back here, and they're teaming with Too Much to take on the Union. And nothing really happens here. It's super quick. It's like 19 seconds long. And then the Ministry comes out, and they give a stare down with the Union to close up things there. At No Mercy, in addition to the match we talked about, there were some corporate ministry matches. You had the Acolytes and Viscera up against the Brood, and that was a long ass match, and not that great of a match. The Acolytes and Viscera win after a clothesline. No, well, you like the Brood.
Well, I like the Brood. Right? I felt like they were all right, but
yeah.
I mean, Viscera in a match with anybody.
It's true.
It's pretty. Oh, look, he picked him up. Oh, he slammed him. Oh, he picked him up again. Oh, he slammed him. Splash.
Big splash. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we also had Midian versus Kane. Actually, this was a shitty match. Kane wins by DQ. The corporate ministry attacks Kane.
This match was awful. Yeah. I hate how Midian's has like fucking DX colors in his shirt too. It's bright green in it.
Yep.
So what the fuck?
His shirt sucks.
Yeah.
X-Pac comes to Kane's aid. Kane doesn't want his help. And then in a random match, it's a rematch from WrestleMania, Shane McMahon versus X-Pac, which this match was actually good. But Shane brings back the European Championship.
Yep.
If you remember weeks ago, he said that he's retiring the European Championship. But being that they're in the UK, he's bringing it back for one night. Bringing it out of retirement for this one match, and it's a solid match. Triple H is going to come out and pedigree X-Pac, and he places Shane on X-Pac, and I'm pretty sure this is like the same exact finish as the WrestleMania match, where Triple H comes out and hits the pedigree on X-Pac and then puts Shane
I forget.
on him and gets the win. So pretty much the same thing there. Kane comes out to prevent the beatdown of X-Pac after the match. Mankind during the show is going to get attacked by the corporate ministry in the locker room. And that kind of wraps things up with the corporate ministry of all that was going on with all the different members, the shit ton of members now in this corporate ministry, and also some of the action going on with the union. Actually, did you hear the union's music? Because they do play it on the Heat from May 16th. It's like a horn. You know, the kind of like a...
Yeah, like a train.
Yeah, like a train, or like, it's time for lunch, guys. Go get your pails and go sit on the high beam and eat your sandwich. It's like the lunchtime bell at a construction site or something. And then it's just some shitty music that follows it. So yeah, that's the union. All right, so let's get into some of the other shit. On the Intercontinental title scene, there's nothing. Nothing happened with the Intercontinental title. So Godfather, Goldust, none of that shit took place at all over the course of the last 3 weeks. Right. You know, like I said, basically everything's been centered around the corporate ministry for those 2 Raws, the May 3rd and the May 10th. It's like strictly corporate ministry. So no time for the IC title. So I think it was relegated to like Shotgun Saturday Night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was looking at the results for the house show rundown.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it now. It's like Godfather's on that now. He's on Shotgun. At least while this storyline's going on. So, yep, IC title, not important right now. So nothing there. Hardcore Championship. You don't really get much of that either. But I do get an oh hell no. So I have to talk about it because it's potentially my oh hell no. But yeah, on Heat 5, May 2nd, 1999, Hardcore Holly versus Al Snow in a non-title hardcore rules match. Now, nothing too bad about that one. It's just a lot of typical shit that you'd see in any hardcore match that we've seen at this point. But the only thing kind of silly is Al Snow doesn't have Head anymore because Head's kidnapped by Bob Holly. So Al Snow now carries a deer head around. A fucking deer head. And he also comes down to the ring with the Sparky Plug music. And that pissed off Hardcore Holly. So that was pretty cool. So they brawl and they fight. And how typical. But then the following week, on the next Heat, it's a hardcore title match. It's Head versus Al Snow. That's oh hell no written all over it. So you have a special guest referee, Hardcore Holly. He says that the Hardcore Championship Committee booked this match to settle things because the mannequin Head ended up with the title. So Head's the champ.
The mannequin. Is that the first time like a non-living person has ever fucking won a belt?
Maybe. So Al Snow wrestles Head, sets him up on a table, he hits a moonsault on Head.
Fucking ridiculous.
Al Snow's...
I didn't watch that, so...
Al Snow pins Head.
I kind of want to now.
Yeah. He pins Head and wins the title back. So, oh hell no. Candidate right there for sure. And then, if I didn't think it could get any worse, it just continues the next week. So you get Hardcore Holly versus Road Dogg on the next Heat from May 16th. And if you ever listen to Jim Cornette, this is the kind of shit he hates. He hates...
Yeah, hokey shit.
He hates, like, somebody wrestling the Invisible Man. So, somebody fighting a mannequin. Right, so, the blow-up doll. So, Jim Cornette is on commentary for this shit, so... Al Snow, pinned Head, he has to, like, clarify that to the audience. He's on commentary saying that. And there's a deer head also involved. So I can only think what was going through his mind. He's like, all right, just got to take this paycheck and shut the fuck up. But, he's probably losing his mind. So anyway, Road Dogg is going to hit Holly with a cookie sheet. And then Al Snow's going to come in and he's going to interfere kind of. It's a hardcore match, so it's not really any kind of DQ. But the thing that really sucked here is that there's this deer head. And the name is Pierre, and it has an eye patch. So this is obviously a joke on Pierre Carl Ouellet from the Quebecers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
So they named the deer after him as a joke, and that's PCO now. He's made a resurgence on the indie scene. But the fucking deer head is named Pierre.
He was PCO. PCO was cool.
Yeah, he was pretty badass. Yeah.
Yeah, he was jacked out of his fucking dude. He was a monster.
Yeah. And he dressed like Sub-Zero from from the new Mortal Kombat. Well, the newer Mortal Kombat.
Maskless.
The maskless.
From Mortal Kombat 3, when you finally you have the version without the mask.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The more recent, not the original, is what I meant.
Yeah, that's why I liked him, because he was a fucking Mortal Kombat character.
So Holly smashes up the deer head. Snow brings the deer head to the trainer in the back and then begs for medical attention. So that gets put up there with the oh hell no, too. Some wacky shit going on there. The tag team title scene, Kane and X-Pac are the champs here. Billy Gunn's also involved in some shit with them. D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry are involved in this title picture. And what happened was on the SmackDown that we watched last week, Kane and X-Pac defended titles against the New Age Outlaws. After the match, Billy Gunn attacked X-Pac in the locker room. So they were breaking up there. So DX was finally totally falling apart at that point. On Heat, you got D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry against the New Age Outlaws. Mark Henry's back after being out for a while. Following night on Raw, Billy Gunn goes up against X-Pac. Road Dogg and Billy Gunn go at it with each other. And Billy Gunn hits Road Dogg with a steel chair. Kane's going to make his way out. And Billy Gunn leaves. So it looks like you're setting up some Kane-Billy Gunn type of feud. The following week on Heat, you get a tag team championship match. Kane and X-Pac versus the Acolytes. This was pretty decent. And again, this is still... I didn't mention this before because it's a tag team title match. But we got more corporate ministry here with the Acolytes. And they're going for the titles, but the title doesn't change, which is strange. So the Acolytes win. There's no title change, and the announcers think that Kane leaving means that it was an illegal victory. So Kane is going to just walk away out of the match, and because he did that, the Acolytes don't win the title. That's how they sold that. So that kind of sucked. Some bullshit there. All right, now this is what you were talking about earlier. Billy Gunn has a match on Raw May 10th, and the hot fan runs out and jumps on him. That match that he had opened the show, and that was Billy Gunn against Kane.
Okay.
Kane gets tied up in the ropes in that match. Billy Gunn stomps on him. Road Dogg and X-Pac run out together. Road Dogg attacks Billy Gunn. They fight into the crowd. JR mentions that they're going to have a match at Over the Edge in a couple weeks. Then D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry run out. They beat on X-Pac and Kane. Same thing with them. D'Lo and Henry are going to go for the tag team titles at Over the Edge against Kane and X-Pac. On Heat on May 16th, you have two matches that are basically just the two tag teams facing each other singles. So you got X-Pac versus D'Lo in one match, and then you got Mark Henry versus Kane in a separate match. And both matches suck. If you ever watch Heat, the matches literally only last up to 3 minutes. That's it. And they jam-pack a whole bunch of matches in, but they only last like 2 to 3 minutes each. So that's what happened there. Okay, No Mercy, Billy Gunn had a match with Mankind. Mankind actually takes the loss. Billy Gunn wins after hitting the Fameasser on a steel chair. So they don't have a lot going on for Mankind right now. He's in this union, but other than that, he's not in any top spot. He doesn't have any good matches. And then the very last portion here
is actually no. There's one more thing other than what I'm about to talk about, and that's Sable, Val Venus, Deborah, Nicole Bass, all this bullshit. On Raw from May 3rd, you get an evening gown match. It's supposed to be Deborah versus Sable, but Sable's going to send out Nicole Bass instead, which that really pissed off the crowd. So you expect Sable to be out there, and then you get Nicole Bass.
Yeah, in an evening gown,
right. Some of the shit I'm just skipping. I'm not even fucking talking about it. All right, so we get that rematch for the evening gown match, and like I was saying earlier, HBK made a stipulation that Sable has to appear, or she's going to get stripped of the title. So what happens is Deborah's clothes get stripped off, so you assume Sable wins and retains, but HBK makes another rule change at the last second. It says the winner is now going to be whoever ends up with no evening gown on. So Deborah wins. Deborah becomes the WWF Women's Champion. That's pretty oh hell no, too. And that's it. That pretty much wraps things up there. We get the beginning of the Hardy Boys now. The Hardy Boys are kind of stepping up to the next level. They're going to be now working with Michael Hayes. So Michael Hayes comes out, and he's back in the Hardy Boys. There was a match between the Brood and Draws and Prince Albert. And a bunch of shit happens. You got the Brood is represented by Gangrel and Christian. Ryan Shamrock's going to randomly come back out of nowhere. And she distracts the ref. And Edge and Christian hit a double team on Draws to get the pin over him.
And she's finally done after this.
Yeah,
right?
I'm pretty sure this is it for her. But who knows? We said that a few weeks back, and then she just randomly pops up.
I've been saying this months ago. I'm like, she stick around there, and you're like, no, she don't stick around long.
So Doc Hendricks come out to confront the Brood. When the lights come back on, the Brood has been taking a bloodbath because the Hardy Boys drenched them in blood. So we got a new feud here. We got Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys.
Good feud, ready to come too.
So it'll pick up more by the end of '99, but this is the start of it. And then it'll be even better once the Dudleys show up at the end of '99 or early 2000. I forget what it was. And that kind of wraps things up. We had another Beaver cleavage spot. Mother Cleavage comes in. So this is from May 10th on Raw. And the Beav has a knee injury. So his mom's coming in to help him. And she says, well, we can't have a split beaver running around here. Split beaver.
So stupid.
And then he says, when it comes to working on your knees, my mom is an expert. It's fucking gross.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
All right, so let's move on now to our house show rundown and the bottom line wrap up. And what was going on starting from April 28th in Washington, D.C., you have Stone Cold Steve Austin defeating The Rock. And then on May 1st in Anaheim, California, you get Austin and The Rock defeating Triple H and the Big Boss Man in a steel cage match. On May 2nd, San Diego, California. That's the taping for the Raw, so we skipped that. May 7th in Fort Myers, Florida. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeats the Big Boss Man. May 8th, Tampa, Florida. Same thing. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeats the Big Boss Man. May 9th in Jacksonville, Florida. We get another TV taping. So let's move away from that. May 10th is another taping. May 11th house show, Fort Lauderdale. Steve Austin defeats Triple H. May 12th, Tallahassee. Austin gets a day off. May 13th, Hershey, Pennsylvania. Austin gets another day off. Yeah, you probably say, oh, you're going to the UK, so you get a little break for those fucking shit shows. But here in Philadelphia on May 14th,
they got them working. Austin, The Rock, and The Big Show defeat Triple H, The Undertaker, and Big Boss Man. Which is funny to think because Undertaker and Big Boss Man, while they're both in the corporate ministry now, it was just a month and a half ago that The Undertaker hung the Big Boss Man at WrestleMania. And now they're...
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was a crazy
Now
moment.
they're tag team partners.
I remember that.
And May 15th, May 16th. All right, May 16th is No Mercy. So that wraps things up there. All right, so Austin had some days off during that stretch and worked with the Big Boss Man an awful lot. So that's the house show rundown for the first part of May. Oh, hell yeah moment of the week. JV, what's your oh, hell yeah?
Mine is the promo from Shane McMahon, Raw 310.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I really liked that. You know, I don't know, could relate to everything he was knocking. I could relate to that guy he was painting.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. Shit's tough. I mean, they were good moments. I guess I'll go with... Fuck, actually, it's harder than I thought. I really liked... Actually, yeah. The Raw from May 10th. The 6-man tag. Austin, The Rock, Vince McMahon versus Undertaker, Triple H, and Shane McMahon.
Yep, that was good.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I mean, it's better than the No Mercy match. I mean, I guess there really is nothing great. It's not an oh hell yeah. It's kind of like oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that great, but yeah, if I had to choose something, that's what I'm going with. I'll go with the 6-man tag on the highest rated Raw of all time, and it's actually considered to be the highest rated match that's been watched on USA Network.
No shit. Yeah. That's deserving of a hell no. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh hell no. What's yours? What do you got?
Nicole Bass coming out in the evening gown. Because if I was in that crowd, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, screw that. That's oh hell no. My oh hell no is... Yeah, I'm going to go with Al Snow wrestling Head, winning the title off of Head, and Head even winning the title, being the champion, and then the Deerhead going to the backstage to get medical attention. Yeah, that's all kind of fucked up and oh hell no in my book. So that's the oh hell no and the oh hell yeah this week. Next week on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, we're continuing on throughout the rest of May of 1999, and we'll get to Over the Edge, and we'll talk about Undertaker versus Austin. And of course, we'll touch on the tragedy that happens Over the Edge, but we don't want that to be the focus. But we'll be watching the Raw go-home show to Over the Edge. We'll check out Over the Edge, and then the next night, and possibly even the following week after that. We'll see how it goes. But try to wrap up May next week on episode 49 of the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. Okay, before we get out of here, though, we want to give some shout-outs to our podcast pals like Talking Taker. Okay, if you enjoy what we do here, the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, breaking down the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, you'll enjoy Alex Dorio and Travis White checking out the career of The Undertaker. Okay, they started all the way back from his beginnings in the fall of 1990. Currently, they're in 2004, so they're moving along. And they've been at it for 2 years, so plenty of episodes to go back and check out of Talking Taker. So take a listen to Alex Dorio describe the show.
Dead man walking.
Oh, hell yeah. What's up, Stone Cold fans? This is Alex Dorio, one of the hosts of Talking Taker. And along with my co-host and fellow creature of the night, Travis White, we are digging up the career of the dead man, one pay-per-view match at a time, on a podcast journey that's a lot like what you're listening to right now on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. So if you're enjoying what Mike and JV are doing here, going through the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Come check us out as we explore the Undertaker's 3 decades of destruction. We're right in the midst of the Biker Taker era right now, so you can jump right in or start over from the beginning and hear us discuss the Undertaker's side of the story from his many battles with the Rattlesnake, The Rock, Mankind, and more. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, and more. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Talking Taker. Thanks to Mike and JV for letting us plug the show, and take her easy. What? I said, take her easy.
All right, so be sure to check out Talking Taker, and then you can also follow them on Twitter at Talking Taker. Also, I want to shout out our boys at Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast. Mike Mills, Doc Turner, and Hardbody Hopper. They're breaking down the NWA WCW Saturday Night episodes from the 80s. They are currently covering May 28th, 1998. They dropped those episodes on Thursdays. So this week, May 28th, 1988. And then on Sundays, they released their Smoky Mountain Wrestling recap. And they are on episode 161. So we get into the final months of Smoky Mountain Wrestling on March 4th of 1995. So check them out. Booking the Territory and Talking Taker. But also, make sure for a different type of taste, okay, that's wrestling, all that's wrestling. But if you want to try something else out, check out Free Your Geek with our boy, Jay Free, who's on our show last week. So if you enjoyed listening to him talk about wrestling, he's very knowledgeable of a whole bunch of other shit, too, that you might be interested in. So check out Free Your Geek. And it doesn't really have a real release date, does he, though?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not
But it's
sure.
out there.
I know it's weekly. Yeah, it's weekly.
It's weekly, but
I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact release date.
Not sure of the date.
The only release date I know for, I listen to quite a few podcasts, but the only one I know releases is the Monday. Is Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
Monday
yeah.
morning podcast.
Monday morning.
That's it. Everyone else, I don't know. It's tough to find podcasts that
Release the same.
on a set schedule all the time.
Yeah, like us.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work.
It does.
It's hard. Life comes up. I mean,
Right.
for a lot of podcasters, it's not their job. It's more a hobby. It's not a job. It's a fucking hobby.
Of course, yeah.
So,
Yeah, not many people making money off of this.
no, like who? Joe Rogan.
Right. People probably have a deal.
Yeah, they're getting fucking legit sponsors
Right.
and stuff.
So anyways, check out Free Your Geek. They're available. They're out there, and they're also on Twitter at Free Your Geek and on Facebook at Free Your Geek. So check it out. And also, again, check us out on the Book in the Territory Patreon.com feed. We're the $5 tier where we drop our ECW episodes, the Extreme ECW Livecast watch-alongs. And like I said, this week we're releasing our 9th episode, or 10th total. We have one special edition in there. But this is episode 9, August 17th and August 24th, 1993. And it's starting to get really good. There's starting to be a lot of familiar faces in ECW at this point. We just had the debut of Shane Douglas. So things are really starting to heat up on ECW in mid-1993. So check it out there. Booking the Territory, patreon.com. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. I'm at MPRU83. JV's at John Van Damage. Our show, Bottom Line Cast, is at Bottom Line Cast. Also, please consider giving us a review on iTunes. 5-star review, of course. And nice little write-up with that. Tell us what you think. Other than that, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week, episode 49, where we're going over the edge, May of 1999. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV. We'll see you next week. So long.
No chance, that's what you got. Up against a machine too strong. Pretty politicians buying souls for blood song. Puppets won't find their place in line. But tie a string around your finger now, boy, cause it's just a matter of time. Cause you've got no chance. No chance in hell. You've got no chance. got no chance. Yeah.